I want to start this video by saying that I'm not a commentary channel. I normally just post makeup videos or doll videos, something about style. But the topic about this video is something that's been bothering me for a while now. Instead of pushing that down and trying to ignore those feelings, I'm going to talk about it into the void. Because I do think that it's an issue, I do think that it affects all of us. Unfortunately, it is that deep to me, and that is, of course, the memification of everything. But you already know that since you saw the thumbnail and clicked on the video. You probably already know about memes and what they're all about since it's pretty ingrained into our social media and media in general. Dare I say it's even part of our culture at this point. I mean, even companies, social medias promote their product using memes, whether it's them trying to make you subscribe to their streaming service so that you can watch a TV show or buy their product. And this video's intention isn't to hate on memes in general. I like memes. I sometimes make memes. You like memes, I'm assuming. We all like memes. The problem is some memes just aren't funny. I don't mean that in the sense that people have different humor. For instance, me finding sarcasm funny doesn't necessarily mean that you'll also find it funny, since humor is subjective. This video is about unfunny memes, and specifically the offensive type. Specifically this. Yeah, this type of meme. I'm sorry. I may just be too woke to some people, or not qualified to speak on anything serious because of the way that I choose to present myself style-wise. But, you know, really I don't see how it's funny to turn a monster like Jeffrey Epstein, who trafficked children, turning him into a meme. I don't see how that's funny. I don't see how turning that situation into a meme is funny either. Maybe I'm just woke snowflake liberal though, as I have been told before when I give my opinion on things. But no, I don't think that I am, because it's not funny. Trafficking isn't funny. I'm gonna censor my words because I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube without getting in trouble. But trafficking isn't funny, SA isn't funny, child essay definitely isn't funny, pedophilia isn't funny. None of this is something to joke about. It's something that's supposed to be taken seriously and should be taken seriously. These men and women that were involved in the files hurt real people, hurt real children, and the victims of said people were not believed for years, and still a lot of people will make excuses or just straight up not believe them when the files are being discussed. They're still being ignored. The person who did it to them is now an internet meme. The situation that they were in is now an internet meme for people to laugh about. Everybody that was involved in what they were, I'm gonna say, allegedly doing, what they were allegedly doing to these children is the worst of humanity. And they should be remembered as such. They should be remembered as predators, as evil, horrific, not even human, not as a meme. It's like people don't realize how horrible everything is. But people seem to not grasp that, because I guess they're stupid or they just don't care, because people continue to make their AI slop memes or their jokes. I have read comments where the files aren't even being mentioned, and then they bring it up as some joke, because the person in the video that they're commenting under is a child. Why is the first thing you think of when you see a child Epstein Island? Why is the first thing that you think of when you see a child abusing them? And even though they're like, it's a joke, no, you're weird and you need to be put on some sort of watch list and never be trusted around children or even women. Because why do you think pedophilia and SA is something funny to joke about? I don't understand. I've seen the "you're too woke" comments, or that it's not that deep, it's just a joke, why does it matter? You're wasting your time bringing it up. I've heard all of the excuses, including that it's just dark humor excuse story that people seem to be obsessed with, as if that justifies anything that they're saying and making it less evil, when the internet and your feed is so full of memes like this, and everyone's just okay with it and laughing about it, treating it like it's some funny joke. and not something to be taken seriously, what does that do to us? It completely desensitizes us to how horrific everything that was happening is. I don't know how much I can say on here about it without getting in trouble with YouTube for it being too graphic, because if you haven't seen and read any of the things from the files, it's really graphic. It's really horrible. Even though I'm making a video talking about it, I don't really want to mention too much of it, because I will be thinking about it for the rest of the day. And honestly, after reading some of that stuff, I haven't been able to get it out of my head, and I didn't even go through the whole thing because I physically couldn't make myself do it. I physically felt like I was gonna be sick, and I can't sleep after reading some of it because it is that bad. You can look for the files yourself at your own risk, though. If you're a sensitive person, or if you're somebody who has experienced any sort of sexual abuse, or even if you're just generally shaken by things like this, I'd recommend that you don't look it up, because it is very upsetting. If you want to look it up and read about it, then take breaks. Don't read it all at once. Read small sections at a time, and please just, if you feel like it's too much and you can't keep reading it, then don't keep reading it. I am going to mention one thing that was specific in the files. If you don't want to hear it, skip to this time stamp in the video so you don't have to hear the specific thing. One thing that was mentioned in the files was cannibalism. This is the screenshot from that interview. That's the only thing that I'm going to mention, because in case you didn't know how bad it is, that is how bad it is. If you didn't already know, then now after knowing that and reading that, you see the point of how do you read that and see that and have that knowledge that this stuff is what was happening. This is what the allegations are. And you're thought to be, I'm gonna make a meme out of this. We are truly cooked as a society if after reading that and finding out information about the files, your first reaction is to make memes about it for clout and likes and followers on your Instagram meme page. I don't know what we're supposed to do in response to something like that, but I do know that we shouldn't be making a joke about it. And it's not just the fact that joking about something is so evil and horrific, in my opinion, but also that what message does that give people? I mean, all of the victims that have come forth have already spent years not being believed, but now that more information is out and everything, and it's been turned into an internet meme, what message does that give to Epstein's victims? What message does that give to Diddy's victims? You saw all of the Diddy memes too. What message does that give in general to people who are victims of trafficking and SA and CSA? They were already not believed for so long, and now this is the response. Many women and girls, boys and men too, because being a victim of SA isn't exclusive to just women. Many people already don't ever talk about what happened to them. A lot of people don't report it. And seeing the public's reaction to all of that, seeing all of the memes about Epstein Island, I completely understand why somebody might not ever say what happened to them or report it. I understand why somebody would keep that to themselves. Epstein and Epstein's Island and Diddy and all of that becoming an internet meme, it gives victims a message that they won't be taken seriously. And I'm sure that this is stuff that other big YouTubers have already talked about, or people have already talked about who can put it into better words and have more things to add than me, but this is just, it's insanity, and it's been bothering me forever. And I hate when I'm scrolling on the gram under Reels, and then like there's some stupid meme about the island where it's just making a joke out of it, like if it's something funny to joke about, and it's not funny. And I'd argue that we have this memification, or even like jokeification, if you want to call it that, and lots of other things too. when the situation should be taken seriously. And it makes me think that we have some sort of horrible empathy shortage issue going on. I don't really even know where it came from. I would say that certain things do have an effect on that. For instance, I'm a Latina. I have experienced some racism in my life, but not a whole lot. And when I did experience it, it was when I was like a kid, so I was kind of too young to really realize that it was racism until getting older and realizing, wait, that was kind of racist now that I look back at it. For instance, one time when I was like in 3rd grade, one of my closer friends who wasn't really a friend, but like a school friend or whatever, she had made a comment to me, like she told me go back to Mexico. And at the time I had kind of thought she was just kind of stupid, because I was like, girl, I wasn't born in Mexico, what do you mean? And then I told my parents, and my parents were like, oh my god, you guys are like 10, what is she talking about? That's horrible. And my dad talked to her dad, and it was like this whole thing, and I didn't really understand what the big deal was until I got older and realized, wait a second. Or even like with teachers, the teacher would say something. I had this one supervisor who was like, she got really mad at me and my friend when we were in kindergarten. We were in recess, we were speaking in Spanish, and we weren't bothering anyone or whatever. We were just talking to each other, because when I was really small, primarily I spoke Spanish. So we were talking to each other, and she was like, don't speak Spanish, you have to speak English. And at the time we were like, why is she snapping at us? Like, okay, Karen, whatever. Now that I'm older, I'm like, that is a little sus. I'm getting off topic again, but recently I've experienced a lot more racism than I did before, and it's all online. My point being, I did not really experience much racism before. Now, if I see something online that people don't like, if I give my opinion on politics, suddenly half of the comment section is telling me I should be deported. It makes me wonder who or what caused this shift. I think that there is a reason. I think there's a direct reason. Obviously, it's people also just being racist, and racism has always been around, always existed. However, when you have somebody in charge who is validating and encouraging that behavior, you're going to have a lot more of it, because now all the races come out of the corners of the basement. I think this also is because it's online. People are more comfortable saying things online than they are in person. Because being online and being able to say basically anything you want with no sort of repercussions or punishments, especially when you're on a troll page that can't be traced back to you, that sort of thing is going to make it a lot easier for people to say the things that they say online, whether it's with a troll account or not. I mean, I've gotten racist messages and comments, I've gotten gross sexualizing comments, I've gotten rape threats online, and every time I go to report the person, it always tells me that they're not violating any community guidelines. So if there already isn't much filtering over what people are saying when it's stuff like that, directly being told to somebody in a comment section or in private messages, and of course there isn't going to be much filter of other offensive things that are said or posted online. And I understand, going back to the whole dark humor thing, that a lot of people's coping mechanism for things is dark humor, or humor in general, making fun of the situation that they experienced or are currently experiencing, because it makes them feel a little bit better. I am also like that. I make jokes about me and my mental health all the time because it makes me feel better. I like to use humor to cope. Lots of people like to use humor to cope. That being said, it's one thing to joke about your own personal experiences or traumas and things that are involving you, but it's a completely different thing to be doing that about a situation that had nothing to do with you, because then that's not even a coping mechanism, that's just you being an ass. Even smaller, less offensive things are kind of bothering me now, and I'm starting to see as problematic. Things that are nowhere near to the level of like the Jeffrey Epstein jokes, but still feel offensive to me and insensitive to me. Since we're talking about the memification of things and the joke-ification of things online in general, TikTok a bit ago introduced this new feature where you can comment photos under videos, and so a lot of people comment like reaction photos and stuff, and that can be funny and humorous. I've seen a few of them that made me giggle. I've gotten a few of them too, but there will be people commenting reaction photos under a serious video, and it just comes off as very tone deaf to me. and like insensitive. Because why are we commenting basically memes, reaction photos basically, or memes? Why are we commenting memes or reaction photos under like a serious video? There will be somebody saying that they have cancer or something, and then somebody will comment the Tom and Jerry crying meme or something, and that's supposed to like convey how they feel bad and like sorrowful or whatever in response to the video. That just feels so tone deaf. Like, what are you doing? Can you imagine if that sort of thing made it out of TikTok comment sections offline and into like real life, in even like professional settings? I've just been having a really difficult time, and I think that scheduling an extra therapy appointment for this week would be really helpful. That really does bug me. It really does feel insensitive when I'll be watching a video explaining something that had happened. Open the comment section, a whole bunch of reaction memes. Reaction meme, reaction meme, reaction meme. What are you doing? There are different levels to comment sections being insensitive in response to something serious. Because while it seems insensitive and rude to me for somebody to be commenting a photo of like a crying mouse under a video about somebody's like relative passing away or something, I don't think that it's always necessarily malicious intent. I think that some people just don't really know how to react to such negative information, and I'm not saying that I'm not like justifying it or something, but I am saying that I think that's why. And I don't think that everybody that's commenting reaction photos, like crying reaction photos under a serious video, necessarily has malicious intent. I do think that some people are just a little tone deaf, I guess. But the worst thing is when somebody comments something like a joke or something that's truly insensitive and it is malicious. It is not trying to be sympathetic or anything towards the situation that's being talked about in the video or the post. It literally is just them being morally chopped. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will give you an example. At the top of my head, the thing that I remember specifically happening is there had been this story. I've seen this multiple times. People act like this in real life too, and in comment sections, because for some reason it is so normalized to defend predators for some reason. I don't understand where that's coming from. Actually, I do know. I'm gonna say it's the patriarchy. I'm not gonna dive deeper into that though, because this will be a 7-hour long video and this is not about the patriarchy. One time I had Instagram open and I was scrolling through it, and a news headline had popped up where some teacher somewhere had been caught in what they call a relationship with one of their minor students, which it wasn't a relationship, it was pedophilia and grooming. And I don't know why they were wording it that way, because call it what it is. It's not a relationship, it's grooming, and it's disgusting. Teacher had been caught being a predator and a creep to one of their students, and the teacher happened to be a woman and the student was a young teenage boy in high school. How any normal person would react to that is how I was reacting, thinking how horrible that is. I hope that she goes to jail for life, and I hope that he has a good support system, right? I opened the comments section and it's a bunch of grown men repeating the same repetitive, disgusting comments. They were saying how lucky the boy is, or they were saying something along the lines of how they wish that they had a teacher like that when they were in school. And if it wasn't that, then they were praising him for bagging an older woman. Okay, so that's not bagging an older woman. That's being preyed on by an authority figure who is a grown adult and knows better, and who's supposed to be a safe person for you to be around. That's called grooming and abuse. That's disgusting. Why are you praising a situation that's evil? And I fail to see how that's funny when they're like, oh well, it's a joke. It's not a joke. It's disgusting. I think that jokes like that and comments like that are all a reflection of our culture and our society, and how normalized things are and how desensitized we are to certain things. For instance, you don't really, if you're American, I'm American, land of the supposed free, right? I feel so desensitized to things like mass shootings and school shootings because it's on the news every day. It's on news headlines all the time. I've been seeing them since I was a kid. And because of that, I don't really grasp how horrible that is and how traumatizing that is until I see like clips that people were taking while it was happening, or when I see people being interviewed and they're crying and stuff, and then it like kind of clicks in my head like, wow, yeah. But because it's so plastered everywhere, you get used to it and then you don't really think twice about it. So if that's just seeing news headlines all the time, what is Jokes doing? And if people keep engaging with that sort of content and making that sort of content and making those sort of jokes about situations that shouldn't be joked about, we are going to continue to be desensitized. One thing that I remember seeing is during the Diddy trial, people outside of his courtroom with baby oil, and that turned into a joke online too because people thought that that was funny. Why is standing outside of a courtroom in support of a predator funny? I don't know, but to some people it was. But that's the end of my rant though. So if this video felt everywhere, I apologize. It kind of was everywhere, but I hope that you understand at least a bit. I know it was a bit repetitive, but it was mostly me writing this when I was upset and ranting about it because I didn't know what else to do with that energy. Going into more detail would turn this into a 7-hour video, and my phone doesn't have the storage for that. I'm at 50 minutes already. I'm pretty sure it's going to give me a full storage notification soon. If you fully watched through, thank you. I do appreciate you. I know that this had a lot of uncomfortable topics in it, but I think that's why we should be talking about it more. And again, I want to say that if you're going to look through the Epstein files, please take it in sections. Don't go through the whole thing at once. Take breaks, and if it feels like it's too overwhelming and too much and too dark, then you don't have to finish it. So please take care of yourself and take care of those around you. Don't let bad people turn you bitter or bad. Try to bring some light to the people around you and to yourself. I love you. God loves you. I hope you have a good day, and don't be an evil person. Bye.